Okay, so guys, we've been asked to prove that cosine A minus B equals cos A plus sine A sine B. Now, before we get tucked into this, let's just look through the 4 steps to help remember it. You got to draw, you got to do the distance formula, the cosine rule, and then equate. That's all there is to this bad boy. But what I'll say is, drunk ducks count exponentially. Why am I giving you that? To help you remember your 4 steps: DDCE, draw, distance, cosine, and equate. Right, let's get tucked in and take a look at the draw part. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw ourselves a unit circle. Next, draw in a diameter line. So I'm going to draw in my diameter here horizontally, clearly marking my center. I'm going to label this here. I'll do it nice here with a big blue. I'm going to label this as 0 degrees, that point there. Next, we're going to draw in 2 radiuses. Now, it doesn't matter where you draw them. This here is a unit circle. We don't actually have to measure it to be 1. We can just say, like, listen, the radius of this is 1. It doesn't matter what units we're talking in here. So that's totally fine to do. And there we go. I've got 2 points, and I'm going to label these 2 points P and Q. So I'll call this one Q, and I'll call this one P. Next, I'm going to connect P to Q, and we should see there that we have a nice little triangle. This doesn't have to be flat or level or anything like that. Lastly, all we're going to do is we're going to label in some angles. I'm going to call this angle in here angle B. So that angle in there, I'm calling angle B. And then on the outside of that, going from 0 as well, I'm going to go outside here all the way to here. I'm going to call that angle A. So I've got angle A and angle B. Lastly then, that would make this angle inside the full angle, take away B, A minus B. Okay, that's nearly it for our construction. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to label our points Q and P. And those points are labeled as, this would be cosine B, sine B. And over here, this would be cosine A, sine A. If you're not sure why that is, just taking a little brief moment to say it here, is that if you looked here at this guy and drew this down, for this triangle here, you can see there's a right angle triangle. And to describe the x-axis, this line, the x value here, that would be in terms of cos B, because it's the adjacent, and the sine B would be the opposite, which is the y-axis here. Also, one last thing I'm going to label in here is the lengths. I'm going to say this is a length of 1, and over here, this is also a length of 1. Alright, so here's one I made earlier on square paper, and there's basically 2 things we're going to do here. We're going to describe the length of P to Q in 2 ways, and then we're just going to let them equal each other. So the first way we're going to do it is we're going to find the length of PQ. So the distance, using the distance formula, the length of PQ equals 2, or the length of anything is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So up here, go up and label your x1, y1. So I'll call this x1, y1, x2, a y2. So I'm going to say it becomes sine A, or sorry, cosine B minus cosine A. So cos B minus cos A, all to be squared, plus my y2 is sine A, sine B there. Look at that. Done a quick little mistake there in my typo, so just fix that. Sine B minus sine A. Make sure you're taking it down correctly as you make your new one. Sine B minus sine A, all to be squared. Now, next we're going to do square root, all that jazz. We're going to just expand it out. Now, just be really careful with your expansion here. Make sure to say, you can make 2 brackets if you like. So what I'll do here is I'll just show what I mean. I can duplicate this guy and then say times itself, and same for the other one. Okay, this can get big and messy, obviously, if you're multiplying it out. Now, you can just shortcut if you want to memorize, or if you can do it in your head onto the next stage, but bear in mind this is going to be a chunk of marks, so there is no rush in that regard. This guy simplifies down shink, to be cos squared b minus 2 cos A cos B plus cos squared A plus sine B by sine B is sine squared B minus 2 sine A sine B. Take your time and don't start mixing up your cos and sines, plus sine squared A. I'll stretch that out at the end. Okay, we're getting kind of neater here, but it is still looking a bit upsetting. So now what we need to do is we need to take a look at our formula booklet. This guy here, cosine squared plus sine squared is equal to 1. So go back to our little proofs here. Cosine squared plus sine squared. So we've got a cos squared A and a sine squared A. We've also got a cos squared B and a sine squared B. So they're all going to equal 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Hey. And then we're going to get 2 minus 2 cosine A cosine B minus 2 sine A sine B. Okay, so we've gotten to here and we're not really sure what we're doing, so it's time for method 2. So method 1 was to use the distance formula to get PQ. Our second method is going to be using the triangle here. So what I do down here is actually just sketch a new triangle. And in this one, we're going to look at using our cosine rule. So our cosine rule can be found in your formula booklet as well. So remind you where it is. It's on page 16. There it is there. This guy here. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared. Effectively, I'm going to say that this is my a, my b, my c, and this angle is my a. Now, it's obviously angle a minus b, and we will call it that, but just for reference of when we're plotting it into our equation. So start with your equation. And substituting things here, this becomes PQ squared. B is 1 squared plus 1 squared minus 2 by 1 by 1 by cosine A minus B, because that's the actual name of the angle. Okay. We end up getting P squared equals 1 plus 1 is 2 minus 2 cos A minus B. And we're actually almost done now. What we need to realize is we just need to relate these two different concepts together. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, PQ was all this. So actually what I can do, just if you want to do it earlier, you can, if you've memorized it off, but just for understanding, I can see down here that this is going to be PQ squared. So you can either square root this the right hand side here, or you can square this whole thing. It's all going to be the same because, hey, it's math. So over here, what I'll do is I'll actually do PQ squared previously, and I'm going to say it's all of this with the square root removed. Now that we've done that, we have PQ squared here, we have PQ squared here. We're going to let them equal each other. So I'm going to say down here, take the whole bit on the right hand side here. So 2 minus 2 cos A cosine B minus 2 sine A sine B should all equal 2 minus 2 cos A minus B. And now it's just a case of cleaning it up. Let's see what things clean up. The 2's and 2's cancel. Oopsie. The 2 and 2 on each side. So what we're going to say here is minus 2 cos A cos B minus 2 sine A sine B will equal to minus 2 cos A minus B. Then divide everything by negative 2 and you get cosine A cosine B plus, because I'm dividing everything by negative 2, sine A sine B equals cos of A minus B. Finally, just check, is that what they're looking for? Cos of A minus B. Does it equal cosine A cosine B plus sine A sine B? And the old question, check our formula booklet if we're not sure. But we can go here and see, haha, certainly cosine A minus B does equal that there. And we have done our full proof. So let's just walk through the steps again, what you need. First thing, and I did it with pen and paper, is you need to draw your diagram. Draw your diagram so that you know what you're working from. Just take your time and make sure to label it 1 and 1 and to correctly label your 2 points. Next is do it with the distance formula for PQ. Then do it with the cosine rule for PQ. Then equate them, that's the final thing. And then, hey presto, it works out being a lovely proof. Hope that helps, and best of luck with your revision for your Leaving Cert. Hope you found that useful. If you did, then like or subscribe, or check out the other social medias where I'll be adding extra resources. If you want something particular made, then just leave me a message on one of those platforms and I'll do my best to get around to it at some point. Best of luck in all your exams.